Finally, Daniel Rise 08 here can conclude WCW 2000 with WCW Mayhem review. If you want to see my Starrcade review, check out my 12 Days of Wrestling, way back from December. In the meantime, here it is. Finally, I get to conclude the worst year for any company of all time in professional wrestling sports entertainment history. This is all these shows. The best show you had was motherfucking Fall Brawl. So, I mean, the worst shows of all time are on this list. I mean, Halloween Havoc, New Blood Rising, The Great American Bash, Super Brawl, Uncensored. 5 of those shows got less than a 2 out of 10. 2 of those 5 shows got a 0. So here we have Mayhem. What am I going to give this rating to? Well, I'm going to tell you this. Mayhem is nowhere near as bad as the other shows. However, it's still fucking bad. On a normal wrestling mindset, this is still a bad show. But for WCW 2000 standards, this bad show is, well, a watchable bad show. It's like taking a shit, but it's not too bad of a shit. It's still kind of painful to shit out, but it's not like it's going to really hurt you, and it's really not going to stank up the joint that bad. It's still going to be stanky. It's still a piece of shit, but it's not going to hurt that bad. It's not going to stink that bad as much as Halloween Havoc did. So let's get to it. Mike Sanders, who is the commissioner of WCW, the 6th or 9,000th commissioner of WCW. You had fucking Kevin Nash, Terry Funk, Ernest the Cat Miller. You had Vince Russo and Eric Bischoff. You had fucking Ric Flair. And then you have Mike Sanders. Kevin Sullivan, I don't know how many fucking bookers and fucking commissioners and authority figures and whatever the fuck they had in WCW. It was fucking mayhem. It was fucking it was stupid. But anyways, he defeats Kiwi to retain his Cruiserweight title in a pretty awful match where it had a billion interferences. A 2. 3 count defeats the Young Dragons and Evan Courageous and Jamie Noble in a good triple threat tag team match. Not nearly as good as their latter match from Starrcade, but this is still a good match. A 6 out of 10. Then we have Mancow defeating Jimmy Hart. So they thought this match would be so good that they had to do it twice. Because they already did this match back at Spring Stampede. So they thought it'd be so fucking great if they did it here again. How fucking retarded is that? Mancow, this fucking radio show host personality, no one with a brain fucking knew outside of Milwaukee, and even people in Milwaukee probably don't even know who the fuck they are. By the way, Milwaukee's where they're at here. So they have this match again, and it's just as bad as their other match. A 0. Crowbar defeats Vito and Reno to retain to capture the hardcore title. Whatever. 1 out of 10. The Filthy Animals defeat Alex Wright and Chronic in a shit match. Now the deal with Chronic was they gave man, my brain hurts after going through these shows. Okay. Disco Inferno made a deal with Chronic. Bet you all the money I made from Germany that here. So he gives them a bunch of money, and they're like, okay, yeah, we'll see what we can do in 8 minutes. So like, okay, here's like $1,000 for you to do a match in 8 minutes or whatever. Okay, so Alex Wright gets Chronic in this match for about 8 minutes. So after 8 minutes are up in this match, Chronic decides to leave because their time is up. So Alex Wright gets his ass kicked by the Filthy Animals, and this was just stupid. A 3 out of 10. Having Chronic, I guess, was like the APA, but they were worse. They were just terrible people. They were just terrible wrestlers. They were, god damn it, they were awful. Ernest Miller, the other commissioner, or the former commissioner, defeats Shane Douglas in a shit match. A 1. Then we have Bam Bam Bigelow defeating Sergeant AWOL in a terrible match. 0. Gender Erection, Huge Erection defeats Lance Storm to capture the United States Championship again in a decent match. It was actually a pretty okay match. A 5. Next up, we have Jeff Jarrett defeat Buck Bagwell in a mediocre match. 4. We have the Insiders, not the Outsiders, the Insiders. That's Diamond Dallas Page with Kevin Nash. They defeat the Perfect Event, which I believe is Sean O'Haire. And, oh man, I always forget the... It's Sean O'Haire and Mark Jindrak, I think. Yeah, it's Sean O'Haire and Mark Jindrak, I think. And they defeat the... No, actually, my bad. It's Sean Stasiak and Chuck Palumbo. That's it. You know what? Whatever. They're all a bunch of fucking jabronis. Sean Stasiak, Chuck Palumbo, Sean O'Haire, fucking Mark Jindrak. They're all a bunch of fucking jabronis. This was a great match, however. This was a 7 out of 10. The Insiders defeating the Perfect Event in a good match. A 7 out of 10. Wow. Then we have Goldberg defeating Lex Luger, and I give it a 3. This could have been a lot worse, but it was actually not too bad. Goldberg had to get back that 176-0 record back, and that would be the only way he could get a world title shot. Unfortunately, before he could even get to 50-0, he lost at Sin, which was silly. And then in the main event, we have Scott Steiner defeating Booker T. Now, this has a whole shitload of, a whole shit ton of stipulations here. Typical WCW, we have a whole lot of stipulations. This is a cage heat match, which a cage heat match is just their word for Hell in a Cell. This is like the 5th or 7th Hell in a Cell match in WCW 2000. You had the 2 triple cage matches. You had one against the Wall and Billy Kidman. Shit you not. You had Booker T versus Vince Russo Hell in a Cell, and you had about 7 or 10,000 more. So you have a Hell in a Cell match, and also you have a straight jacket. And Booker T's trying to work this straight jacket to hold Scott Steiner down, but Scott Steiner, being the generic bitch that he is, rips the sleeves off the straight jacket. So it's a straight jacket Hell in a Cell, and it's for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. So it's a whole lot of stipulations, but it works so well. These two guys put on one great match. I give it a 6 out of 10. It could have been a little better if it had a little bit more time. Booker T trying to work with the straight jacket and just couldn't get him on. And he was really not doing well with the straight jacket, and they really played it off really well. Scott Steiner was a fucking monster and becomes the WCW champion and defeats Booker T and has a pretty good run with it. This would be the final WCW championship title change of 2000, and it would be the second to last title change until the company's defunct. So, in the entire year of 2000, they had a grand total of 22 title changes. Mind you, 9 of which was in a matter of 5 weeks. So that concludes WCW Mayhem, and that concludes WCW 2000. You know, you have 22 title changes, 9 of which in 5 weeks. You had like 5 times the titles vacated. You had 6 or 7 commissioners. You had so many fucking bookers. You had Vince Russo in and out 3 fucking times. You had Eric Bischoff and the mega powers of booking not working. You had New Blood Rising. You had Halloween Havoc. You had Great American Bash. All garbage shows. Your best show was Fall Brawl. Overall, WCW Mayhem might be a step up from Halloween Havoc, but it's still a bad show in a lot of ways. But there's still some good here. The tag team title match was great. The main event was good. And the triple threat tag team match was also very good. The rest is just your typical WCW shit. So overall, this pay-per-view gets a 3.2 out of 10. So the entire overall rating of WCW in the year 2000 is a 2.5 out of 10. That's the average of all the shows. All of the shows sold out. Super Brawl, Uncensored, Spring Stampede, Slamboree, The Great American Bash, Bash at the Beach, New Blood Rising, Fall Brawl, Halloween Havoc, Mayhem, and Starrcade. All 12 of those combined, you take the average, and there you have a 2.5. That is fucking garbage. That is awful. That is awful. That means that of all the pay-per-view matches you've had, the average rating was not even a star and a half. That's right. The average match of all pay-per-view matches in the year 2000 WCW, the average of every single pay-per-view match was literally 1.5 stars. A star and a half. Actually, it's more of a star and a fucking quarter. That's fucking garbage. I'm Daniel Rock 08. And I catch you next time.